We say, I would like you to, but we don't say, I recommend you to. We don't say, I suggest you to. How to use suggest, recommend, and advise. We're going to start with suggest and recommend, because in daily conversation, people often use these interchangeably. That means that they use them the same. To suggest or recommend basically means that you tell someone that you think that they should do something. You think that doing this thing is a good idea. And although many people use them interchangeably, they are not 100% the same. When you suggest something, you are basically saying, in my opinion, this might be a good option for you. When you recommend something, you are basically saying, I have experience with this, and I think that this is what you should do. So when you suggest something, you are really just giving them an option to think about. You might not care very much whether or not they actually do it. But when you recommend something, because of your experience, you really believe that this is the best option for them, and you want them to do it because you want to help them. Recommend is also a bit more formal than suggest. To advise is basically the same as to recommend, but it's stronger and it's the most formal of these three words. Usually, a person who advises has special knowledge or a special position, and it is their job to help other people make decisions. For example, a doctor might advise their patient, or a lawyer might advise their client. Now let's look at the main ways that we make sentences with these three words. Suggest and recommend are usually followed by a gerund, that subject verb, or a noun. I suggest trying the fried chicken. I suggest that you try the fried chicken. I suggest the fried chicken. I recommend watching Batman. I recommend that you watch Batman. I recommend the Batman movie. One common mistake that people make is using the word should with suggest or recommend. If you have suggest or recommend in your sentence, you should not have the word should in it. I suggest and I recommend basically mean I think you should. So if you say I recommend that you should, you're basically saying I think you should that you should. And that doesn't make sense. So don't do that. Another common mistake is using the word to. We say, I want you to. We say, I need you to. We say, I would like you to. But we don't say, I recommend you to. We don't say, I suggest you to. Finally, how to use advise. Just like with suggest and recommend, we can use advise gerund, advise that subject verb, or advise noun. My doctor advised exercising 45 minutes per day. My doctor advised that I exercise 45 minutes per day. My doctor advised 45 minutes of exercise per day. However, with advise, you can also use to. My doctor advised me to exercise 45 minutes per day. Although we can't do that with suggest or recommend, we can do it with advise. Also, we can advise a person. My professor advised me on what courses to take. My professor advised me means that she helped me. She gave me information. But my professor suggested me or my professor recommended me do not mean the same thing. Those mean that she gave information about me to another person. For example, maybe I was applying for a job, and she wrote a letter that said, "Mike is an honest and hardworking person. I recommend that you hire him." But anyway, the 5 most important things that I want you to remember today are: 1. Most people don't see a big difference between suggest and recommend in daily conversation. 2. Suggest is the softest and the most informal of these 3 words. 3. Recommend is stronger, more formal, and based on experience. 4. Advise is the most formal, and it's usually about a person in a special position or with special knowledge. 5. When you use suggest or recommend, you should not have you to verb or should in your sentence. That's all for today. I hope you learned something. Thank you for watching.